morning, everybody. Now I will request, Mr. Ullas Parlikar to come and talk about the uses of the plastic in the cement kilns. Mr. Ullas Parlikar, he is from ACC. Geocycle is, it's called Geocycle India. They have got, I think in 40 plants, they have put up the plastic recycling units where they can use the RDF from the waste management sites. Mr. Parlikar. So we will ensure that we have got 3 people here. We have 3 lectures. So we will request around 15 minutes for each of the lectures. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gauba, and thanks Rotary Club for inviting us. I represent ACC Limited, and I'm going to speak about resource efficient management of non-recyclable. Mr. Gauba already talked about recyclable. There are a lot of plastics which is recycled today. But what happens is that there are also some which we generate as non-recyclable. So what we do is we deal only with that. Whatever is non-recyclable, we want that we should make good use of it. So that's why I say resource efficient management of the non-recyclable. And plastics and other combustible waste. What are other combustible waste? Leather, rubber pieces, leather, tubes, tires, resin, thermocol, and contaminated paper, contaminated clothes, the clothes which cannot be used subsequently, etc., etc. So everything which is combustible, along with the plastics, non-recyclable, is something that we deal with, and we deal with on a very large scale. That's what I would like to share with you. So next, please. We do this activity. Like we have a brand for cement called ACC. We sell cement under ACC brand. We also are a Lafarge wholesale company, which is a global company, and Ambuja Cement is also a partner. So we are sister companies. And ACC and Ambuja, like they have those brands of ACC and Ambuja, we have a brand for waste management, which we call it as Geocycle. So all the waste management activities we do under Geocycle, because we don't want to confuse our customers with the waste that we do management and the cement that we sell. So there are 2 distinct activities, and this we do it on a large scale, so it reserves, it actually requires kind of a specific effort, specific focus, and specific kind of a attention of the organization. We do it on a large scale in the sense that we are more than 150 people only working on this concept of managing wastes. We are doing it for last 12 years now. So it's not yesterday, right? We're doing it. So next. For cement industry, utilizing waste as resources is not new. In 1953, Government of India wanted to set up a fertilizer plant in Sindri for manufacturing ammonium sulfate fertilizer. The problem with the ammonium sulfate manufacture was that it generates a slurry which is calcium carbonate slurry, and in almost stoichiometric proportions. So if you produce 1 kg of ammonium sulfate, 1 kg of slurry will get generated. The question is, what do we do with this calcium carbonate slurry? This was addressed to ACC. ACC said we will produce cement out of it, and we set up a cement plant and the adjacent plant of this particular ammonium sulfate plant. Both plants were running. When ammonium sulfate plant stopped, our plant stopped. So that's the synergy and resource utilization that we are talking about. It ran for 33 years. So then we had the steel plants. Steel plants were producing granulated blast furnace slag. The mountains were created out of that from the steel industry. We said we will utilize this as a resource in our plants, in our cement, And we started producing a product called PSC, which is pozzolanic slag cement. And it's one of the best cements which has gone into construction of the dams that we have built after independence. Then we had the problem of fly ash. We were going into producing larger quantities of thermal power based electricity, and what to do with fly ash. So we came up with the solution. We say, okay, we can utilize this fly ash as a pozzolana in the cement manufacture, and we produced what is called as PPC, which is pozzolana cement, Portland pozzolana cement, and this cement has better properties than OPC. And today in the country, we led that particular initiative in the country in around 90s, and today almost 80+% of this cement produced in the country is either PPC or PSC. It is not OPC. OPC is highly intensive, highly material and energy intensive. This is a sustainable product. Then we saw that there was a big problem with marble slurries, where marble was produced in Rajasthan, Makarana and other places. So we tried and we started utilizing that material. We continue to do that. Agro waste, which is non-cattle feed, is another issue. What do we do with that? So we said, yes, we can utilize this as a resource. And we started utilizing that as a resource. Segregated combustible fraction, or the non-recyclable plastics and other combustion material that I'm talking about from municipal solid waste, is something also is a big problem, because you don't know what to do with it. All you can think of doing it is put it somewhere, into the dump yard. So we said, can we start making utilization of that, and we started utilizing it. And then the industrial waste, hazardous waste, industrial non-hazardous waste. What happens to the date-expired shampoo, date-expired medicine, date-expired materials that we produce out of our shelves, godowns? We consume them as resources. So all that non-hazardous material is utilized as material and energy resource by us in cement industry to manufacture cement, which has got capability to sustain the construction for more than 100 years. So that's the research that we are talking about, and that's the business that we are talking about. Next, please. So we do this initiative, we do this activity under GeoCycle brand, and the technology is called co-processing. We do not incinerate, we do not burn. Like we co-process, or like we process raw materials and coal as a fuel and raw materials in our process, we use wastes as raw materials and fuel in our process. So that is why we say co-process. We don't incinerate, we don't co-incinerate, we don't burn, we co-process. So we co-process wastes as resource in our cement manufacture. What happens? It's a permanent solution to the waste, because once you put it into the cement kiln, there's no ash, there's no residue. It's zero. We say it's gone forever, okay? It reduces emissions and greenhouse gases overall. I mean, somebody may think if you burn waste into, or if you put cement into, waste into cement, it'll produce some obnoxious gases. No, they don't. In fact, they reduce the gas generation, the emission. And we have got data which has been certified by CPCB, ministry, and everybody. It lessens our reliance on fossil fuels. So 1 kg of coal, if we replace with 1 kg of waste, that 1 kg of coal is not mined. It remains in the land. And therefore it conserves that material for our future generation. So that to the extent that we have used this year, let's say some amount of waste as a resource, equivalent amount of natural resource is preserved in the environment. And it's a zero waste technology. So we are actually helping industries to go landfill free. There are many companies who are partners with us who have no landfill as an option, and we help them do that. Next. I'll start quickly going now next. Just click on. So this is the cement kiln that we talk about. The brown cylinder that you see is a gigantic facility which will be about bigger than the aircraft, even the biggest 380. It will be about 5 to 6 meter diameter and about 60 to 100 meter long. It will have that tower that you see there, which will be about 150 to 180 meter tall. Each cement plant of the size that we talk about today as standard, it utilizes anywhere around 10,000 tons of input materials on a daily basis. So it's a giant facility that we make use of in managing waste. These three green places that I have shown, we put wastes as resources, after not just like that, but after processing. And that's how we utilize them as resources in our plant. Next. If we allow the waste to decompose or get into the environment, there is some amount of emission which happens, whether it is carbon dioxide, NOx, SOx, ammonia, or methane, or whatever you call it. And if we keep on producing cement the way we have been doing it by utilizing natural resources, we also put carbon dioxide and emissions into the environment. But if we replace coal with waste, the entire thing reduces. 1 plus 1 is not 2 then, 1 plus 1 probably is only 1.1. And that's how we help also in solving the problem of emissions or the global emissions that are happening. This technology therefore comes under the category of greenhouse gas reduction or climate change mitigation technology. Next. This is the waste management hierarchy that we talk about. So waste management hierarchy, co-processing comes after recycling. So what it can be recycled, therefore we do not use. What is non-recyclable, which unfortunately has to be disposed, so that we use it as a resource. The advantage is that 1 kg of waste or 1 kilocal of waste gets utilized as 1 kilocal of coal, and 1 kg of waste gets utilized as 1 kg of raw material for us. So that is why it is higher in the waste management hierarchy, even higher than waste to energy, because in waste to energy, we are only converting 30% of the energy into electricity, material is 0. And that's why this is higher in the waste management. And therefore, subsequently is your incineration, landfill dumping, etc. So it is substantially higher and comes under the 3 R's, which is reduce, recycle, reuse, and then recover. So it goes there as a higher waste management. Next one. We manufacture cement, we don't burn materials, right? So we have to go through a process of, scientific process of converting that waste material into a useful material. So we have to do assessment of the waste, we analyze the waste, we transport the waste, we pre-process the waste, convert it into what we call it as alternative fuels and raw materials, AFRs. And then we put it into our cement kiln for co-processing them. Next. What kind of material? The combustible waste from municipal solid waste, which are non-recyclable. The plastic waste, the non-recyclables only. The non-hazardous waste like FMCG trade rejects, or ETP sludges, water treatment sludges, or anything which is non-hazardous, And then the hazardous waste, all kinds of hazardous waste we dispose in our cement kilns. And then the agro waste, which are not cattle feed. Next. Next one. So is it a viable business model? Yes, it is, because it's more than 11 years that we are operating this. Our volumes are increasing on a yearly basis. It is not just ACC, Ambuja, and Geocycle which are involved today. It is all the cement plants, they are doing it. If it was not a business model, it wouldn't have happened like that, and it wouldn't have survived, right? There was a national task force which was set up by Central Pollution Control Board. It evaluated the business model and confirmed that this model is a sustainable model, and therefore this has been incorporated into the rules now that as a preferred technology for managing waste. So if it is waste to energy or if it is incineration as an option, the rule says that you try co-processing. If you can co-process, rather do that and proceed with it. Next. How much waste can we use? In cement kilns, this technology is operating for 4 decades now. It has gone through the evaluation of all kinds of stakeholders globally. A country like Austria, Germany, on a countrywide basis, their average waste utilization as fuel is 70%. We are at 4%. So a large quantity of waste can be utilized by us as resources, and therefore so much waste cannot go into the dump field or should not go into the dump yards. Next. But if we want waste to get utilized, you see waste are like that on the left side, but what we need is what is there on the right side. So you need to process it. So we have an elaborate process as Geocycle or ACC and Ambuja we have put in more than 500 crores of investment only to pre-process these materials. And we do it on a very large scale. Next. For plastic waste, in 2008, Indian Center for Plastics and Environment, we collaborated with them because at that time for plastics there was no solution. There was huge concern on treating carrying out any thermal treatment for plastic waste because of the PIL which was filed in Supreme Court by Almitra Patel. So we worked along with ICPE and we demonstrated in collaboration with CPCB and others that this is a clean technology, it solves the problem without any cause of concern. And then today, this particular technology has been included in the plastic waste management, solid waste management, and also the hazardous and other waste management rules of 2016, which have been notified. Next. As far as plastic waste, including the other combustible waste that we talk about, those are the volumes that we have dealt with. So in year 2012, it was something like 22,000 tons, whereas last year in 2017, we did about 120,000 tons, which is substantial quantity in terms of utilizing. When we have used 120,000 tons of waste as a resource, at least 100,000 tons of coal we have not used. So that 100,000 tons of coal is there somewhere in the lands now, which can be utilized by the generations in future whenever they say. So in fact, I tend to say that we don't anymore want to mine the lands, we want to mine the waste areas so that we can produce cement out of it. Next. So this kind of combustible material, we use it from various locations. So we have few wards of Coimbatore, then a town called Madhukarai, which is close to our plant in Tamil Nadu, then several panchayats in Himachal, Panjim and other locations in Goa. In fact, entire Goa, the plastic and other combustible material comes to our plant. Municipal corporations of Hyderabad, Chennai, Jaipur, Katni, Bangalore, Varanasi and Lucknow have started sending materials to us. Waste paper recycling industries also generate large amount of this plastic waste. So that also comes to us from various locations in Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. And even the dump yard material remedied is something that we utilize and we are doing it for Goa. Next. This solution is not simple as it is on business as usual situation. But if we do something which is relevant, then the solution is very easy. So what is important is the segregation. If we segregate materials, if we segregate kitchen and organic waste, the compost that we generate probably is best quality that we can think of and gets utilized 100% efficient manner. The recyclable materials like glass, plastics, metals, they find an appropriate use. It's a commercial activity and it fetches money to the corporation and whoever. The inert is a cause of concern. But if we are able to segregate it by design, then that's not a problem. You can use it in low-lying areas for filling, etc. The major concern always is this, what we call it as segregated combustible fractions, which is plastics and other combustible materials in municipal solid waste. The only solution for that is to co-process it or to send it to waste to energy and convert it into electricity. If we don't do that, that is the material which will be on the roadsides, in the dump yards, or even the landfills where the land is gone forever. Next. So I would like to show a small video about 3 minutes, if the organizers permits me. It actually illustrates how successfully the recycling of this material on a 100% basis can be done. 100% of the material gets recycled. Just minimize this. Yeah, you start the video, yeah. Just see if the sound is there. Should be on, yeah.
ये सफलता की कहानी तमिलनाडु के कोयम्बटूर जिले की मदुकरै ग्राम पंचायत की है, जो स्वच्छ पर्यावरण के लिए किए गए प्रयासों के लिए चर्चित है।
हम ग्रीन फ्रेंड्स हैं। हम ग्रीन फ्रेंड्स हैं। हर घर पर जाते हैं और कचरा एकत्र करते हैं। हर घर पर जाते हैं और कचरा एकत्र करते हैं। इस कचरे को ऑर्गेनिक वेस्ट की तरह रिसाइकिल करते हैं।
मधुकरै पंचायत में पिछले 5 सालों से एसीसी सीमेंट की मदद और महिला स्वयं सहायता समूह के सहयोग से पंचायत द्वारा सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट यानी अपशिष्ट प्रबंधन परियोजना का सफलतापूर्वक संचालन किया जा रहा है।
सुबह इस वाहन को लेकर हर घर पर जाते हैं और घंटी बजाकर उन्हें बुलाते हैं। हम सब्जी के कचरे और प्लास्टिक के कचरे को अलग करते हैं। इसे आवंटित की गई जगह लगाया जाता है। इसके बाद एकत्रित कचरा पंचायत वाहनों द्वारा ढोकर खाद की दुकान पर लाया जाता है। यहाँ पर लाए गए प्लास्टिक को 8 तरह के प्लास्टिक यानी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सामान, चमड़े की वस्तुएं, दूध के खोल, तेल के खोल, 40 माइक्रोन से ऊपर का प्लास्टिक, अखबार, टूटे कांच और टूटी हुई प्लास्टिक की वस्तुओं में अलग कर लिया जाता है।
लगभग 8,500 घरों से 4.5 टन से अधिक कचरा इकट्ठा किया जाता है और इसमें 3.5 टन कचरे का उपयोग किया जाता है।
बायोडिग्रेडेबल कचरे को जैविक खाद और केचुआ खाद में परिवर्तित किया जाता है। ये परिवर्तित खाद सब्सिडी दर और कम दरों पर मधुकरै के किसानों को बेच दिया जाता है। यहाँ पर उत्पादित जैविक खाद का उपयोग दिखाने के लिए इसका इस्तेमाल आंगन साफ गाड़ी में किया जाता है। यहाँ लाए गए प्लास्टिक को छोटे कणों में तोड़कर पैक किया जाता है और इसे पंचायत में आसानी से सड़कों बनाने में इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है। अलग से एक कंप्रेशन मशीन है। प्लास्टिक को उसमें कंप्रेस कर जगह को कम किया जाता है और अलग से पैक किया जाता है।
ये परियोजना यहाँ की गरीब महिलाओं को आजीविका देती है।
मैं ग्रीन मित्र के रूप में काम करती हूँ।
वो लोग सुबह कचरा इकट्ठा करते हैं, इसलिए हमारा शहर बहुत साफ है।
शुरुआत में ये काम बहुत मुश्किल लग रहा था, बाद में काम आसान हो गया था।
जैसा कि आपने देखा इस सड़क को जहाँ से ये शुरू होती है कि ये बहुत साफ है। हर हफ्ते वो इसे साफ करते हैं और वो ब्लीचिंग पाउडर डालते हैं।
सौहार्दता से मिलकर काम करते हैं।
इस काम से जुड़ने के बाद चूँकि मैं सुबह 3 बजे आती हूँ और दोपहर 2 बजे तक जाती हूँ, घर पहुँचकर सभी काम करती हूँ।
अगर हम घर के अंदर भी है तो वो हमें फोन करेंगे और कचरा देने के लिए कहेंगे।
शहर में सभी सड़क बहुत ही साफ सुथरी है।
वो पिछले 5 सालों से आ रहे हैं, सड़कें साफ है। यदि वो लोग और पंचायतों में भी ऐसे ही करे तो अच्छा होगा।
हम इसे सार्वजनिक सेवा के रूप में कर रही है।
तमिलनाडु सरकार की ग्रीन मधुकरै परियोजना और हमारे प्रधानमंत्री के स्वच्छ भारत मिशन का सपना पूरा करने की राह में ये गांव अपनी सफलता की कहानी बयान कर एक नई मिसाल कायम कर रहा है।
So just wanted to say only one thing, that this initiative it started in 2011. It continues sustained without a single day's break. And this is 100% recovery of every material. There's no landfill, so to say, for these materials anywhere in that town. It's a 50,000 population town, and we don't do anything. It's all panchayat which does that. We only gave them some management inputs, and beyond that, some PPEs, which can give our brand. That's all. But today, they are able to do it on their own successfully. Only additional thing that we do is that compressed material, which is shown there into a bale, that is something that is no use for that subsequent. We take it into our cement plant and use it as a fuel. So we use this material on very large scale from several, next, I think we can close it, I'll just sum up in 2 minutes, is that, we do this on a very large scale. There are several models which we have built for operating this particular concept, which is on a very small panchayat scale. It can be at a city level or it can be at a town level. So something like 50,000 to 5 lakh to 50 lakh, it's workable, scalable kind of a model. And we are working also with several people. Last year, just to tell you, we utilized something like 0.7 million tons of different kinds of waste as resources in our cement plant. So it's something which we believe is a good technology, workable technology, acceptable technology, which will not only solve the problem of waste, but also will provide us a sustainable future. Thank you so much.
Now I would like to request Mr. Ajay Mishra, who is basically chartered accountant by profession, and he's an entrepreneur and he's running a startup, and he's my ex-colleague from Reliance also. So we have worked together. So I will request him to talk about the BioCrux India and how they are helping in collection of the plastic waste bottles in India.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Rotary, for giving me this opportunity, and Mr. Mishra for speaking regarding the decentralized waste management. Quickly, I formed this company, Biocorrex India. It's basically to create a decentralized platform for the waste management, and definitely started with the plastic. Since we have, Mr. Rajesh has already covered in terms of what plastics is in terms of generations and the recycling percentage, I'll not cover that part, and I'll go straightway into the something which is why we have, we think, or I personally believe that decentralized waste management system is important today. And it is well proven in European countries, and we believe that in India also the decentralized waste management system with the help of technology is important. One point is picked by Mr. Ullas Parikar also, which is regarding the compressions of the waste, and so that it saves the transportations, that part, and why segregation is important for his plant also. There is a three basic thing today, if you talk about that why we are in a stress today, and who is responsible for that stress, and third thing, what is the solution for it, and there is a way forward for it. Frankly speaking, friend, let me be very clear to that. Not a single technology is ultimate solution for any problem. We have to try a different technology, different solutions for all types of the waste. So we have thought about one types of solutions, but maybe there is a different technologies is suitable for some other locations or other geography kind of thing. Not all types of technologies available in European countries may be suitable in India, because the types of the waste and the quantum of the waste and the concentration of the waste is different, very different from other countries altogether. Next. We are in a stress basically when we see something like this on the street, onto the municipal dump, when we see landfill, when we see air pollutions because the landfill has got burned, say river pollutions when we talk about Namami Gange or cleaning Ganga, but this is the current situations, something like that. So this is why we are stressed today. And because something is visible, we see that this is on the road, this is where we are walking, and when we talk about rivers, or save rivers or clean rivers, we see it. That's why we are in stress today. Basically, who is responsible? Not one person, not a public, not just a municipal or not a government, I say, is wholly or solely responsible for this problem today. It's over the period of time which has created this problem for us. If you talk about people, yeah, we got a very bad habit now, because we stick to our convenience of throwing the waste wherever we feel that is convenient. We like to have our home clean, but we just throw the waste outside of our home and any locations. Regarding the policies, it took so many years to frame up, MSW 2016 policy now, which stress on the segregation at the source of generation. So that is, another part. And obviously the infrastructure, are we really have sufficient infrastructure to manage this waste? So we have those data from, all the economists, all the surveys says that we are generating so much of waste. We have Bombay generating 9,500 tons of waste. But are we really creating infrastructure for that waste? So that is something which is, created a problem for us. So not a single person responsible for all. And the solution is, when all the peoples will come together, not only government will come, or only municipal will come, or say only public will help. Everybody will come together, then the problem will solve, and that is where the segregation at the source of generation is important and is really going to succeed. Quickly, this is the existing system. As we all know, the municipals getting generated, going collections, and then goes for the recycling sector. In India, or say typically it's a very complex situations where different types of collection system is available. Somewhere you see the rag pickers are coming and collecting the waste. Somewhere we see a municipal vehicle is coming and collecting the waste. And somewhere we have NGOs and facilitator to work on behalf of municipal to collecting the waste and sending for segregations. But if all things are available, then why is still there is a landfill? Why still there is a burn onto the landfill, and there is air pollutions or the river pollutions? We say European countries are very good in terms of recycling and waste processing and collection, but frankly, I'll tell you just one single thing. Rajesh has already explained about the in terms of number, but 33 million tons alone dumped by USA in sea, and that is a plastic waste. And why it is happening? We say that they are good, they are clean the street, but why it is happening? And there is a 4 basic reason I personally believe that is responsible for that. Go to the next. The first 4 basic things which I feel that is critical to this entire problem which we are facing today is not only technology, but willingness to help the society and keep our society clean. Obviously, the habit which we inculcated over the period of 10 years or say 20 years, which is creating a big troublesome for us. Second thing, contaminations. Contamination led to any types of the waste which is a very dangerous for the recycling. So Mr. Parlikar has says that segregation is important, because if he gets the segregated material, only then the recycling will be much fruitful, and probably he will get much more calorific value to generate electricity or say whatever the energy out of it. So that's why the contamination is very dangerous, and what we need to what is the solution for that is a segregation. Segregation where? At source or say recycling centers. That is again depending on the where we are, how we want to do it. Third thing is viability. There is one municipal having 15,000 tons of manure lying, and it's like a mountain, and it's over the period of 10 years they have accumulated. And assuming that a very simple thing, that this manure will be observed and somebody will take this manure for recycling, right, or say putting that, but nobody has taken it. And the reason is very simple, because that the usability is by far where it needs to be used, and if we need to be transported, the cost is high, and that because of that they have not taken it, and they are that municipal is not able to dispose that manure. Now they are looking for alternative solution after accumulating those 15,000 tons of waste. Fourth thing, executions. Whatever technology, whatever the efforts we will put, needs to be executed well. One more static says there is 91 units closed in India in last 5 years, which is related to waste management. 91 units. And that is the 2 reason, contaminations leading to non-viability of the waste processing. Next. This is, most of the people know, so I'll not go for that. Go to the next. Yeah. There is a centralized waste management system, and there is a decentralized waste management system. As I said earlier, there is not a particular solution for any types of types of problem. But yes, we feel that today we need to go for a decentralized system, because the populations, what we have, the concentrated waste we are generating, and the contamination which is coming out, and which is a problem for the recycling. I just given a quick data in terms of what happens in terms of waste management system and transporting system of the waste. Roughly approx 2% of the world's fuel are consumed only for transporting the waste. 65 to 70% of the municipal budgets are exhausted only in transportations of the these wastes. Then when these wastes are getting collected and transported, it's definitely to save the cost, they mix it again. These wastes are getting mixed it again, and then finally lead to contaminations and having a problem into the recycling. Fourth part is manual segregation and transportations, which is a basic issues today any recyclers are facing. So just like going by that, there is a 41 recyclers in India today, is a PET bottle recyclers. Are they running in a full capacity? I'm sorry, no. Is there some, non-availability of the raw material of PET bottles? No. So there is a 16 billion bottles we are generating. I'm talking about just PET bottle. And there is a plants which is opened across India, and there is a 41 plants, but are they running in a full capacity or the capacity which they have opened? No, because of the same issues, contamination, viability. There is another points which we want to mention here, that there is a 90% collection of the PET bottles which has been, said by Mr. Rajesh regarding that these PET bottles are collected. But are these 90% getting collected in cities or across India? We need to look it very carefully into that perspective, because we feel that, okay, we are talking about 4 or 5 metro cities and 6 metro cities, but what about the other parts of the country? What about the tourist destinations? What about the Vaishno Devi or say extreme northeast? Are these bottles getting collected and coming back, everything? He has answered it also, because he said 60% is recycled. What happened to those 40%? So that is basically a linking between, what is getting collected and what is getting recycled into that. Now I'm coming to, there are few things the system which is getting followed. There are some certain things visible also in India. 3-win model for societies and public places. This is what we are stressing, that all the housing societies or, public places, we have a 3-win system where any types of waste which is coming should be segregated in terms of organic waste or plastic waste, or say, third types of material, say other waste, you can say papers, any kind of thing. There's now MSW 2016 stressed about composting into the bulk waste generation. So now we see a lot of companies are coming with the, composting into that at source of generation again. Which is important today, because once we compost this organic waste at source, what we left is something, a valuable material for recycling. So you say, I can't say that you are achieving 80% of your target, but still 50% of the basic problem you're solving. But if you compost that organic waste at the source of generations, it will save your transportations, plus it will reduce the volume by 85% of source. And since you're doing at the source of generations, you have spaces available, whether it is a garden, whether it is your local, your own rooftop gardens, you can use that manure into that. And hence you see that, that is getting disposed in a right way, unlike one municipal which is accumulating 15,000 tons of manure at one place and then finding what to do about that. Because everything is linked to the viability into that perspective. Today, if you generate so much of organic waste or say manure, what will happen to that? Well, somebody is going to buy this at the certain prices. He will look for the viability, and then again the problem will come, who will collect, who will dispose it. So there is a very good step on to that. The third area is, which is, third area which is regarding the plastic waste, which we are talking about. In terms of plastic waste, there is 2 types of plastic video says, typically to segregated. One is a PET bottle plastics, typically which is a high value generation in terms of that, and Reliance is, as he mentioned, 40,000 tons of the PET waste is processing. And then the other plastic what we say is where probably ACC cement is what we are processing it. Now, in terms of plastic, what we say is that recently in India, around, if you see that some PET bottle crusher machine is getting installed in public places. Now, this is also called a reverse vending machines, and this is also called a bottle crusher machine. Is a different names altogether. But the entire purpose of this entire solutions which is coming up is it can be placed at the source of generations. Again, mall, multiplexes, hotel, IT parks, or say markets, railway stations, airport, anywhere where the PET bottle waste is getting generated, the bottle should be immediately crushed. Now the crushing, there is 2 basic advantages of that. Once you crush it, you're neutralizing the PET bottle for reusing. That is one area which we stress is firmly, that the bottle, a packaging bottle which we are generating, should not be reused again. It should not go for the recirculation. So rather you destroy it at the source of generation. So that it should not go for reuse. The second thing, by crushing it, you're reducing volume. The reduction of volume can go from 50% to 85% depending on what you're doing. Maybe you are crushing it, or maybe you are flaking it. So that you're reducing the volume. Once you reduce the volume at source, you are creating a viability in the system. You're reducing the transportation cost by 9 to 10 times. You're creating a viability to bring that same bottle again from whether it is Jammu, Kashmir, or say Kerala, or say Northeast, to the locations where the recycling is happening. And then you're making this bottle available to these recycling plants. That is why this types of technology, which we can place into the public places, we can neutralize the bottle, we can reduce the volume, and make this PET bottle available to those recyclers for the recycling. The second machines which you are looking at is a small compactors. Again, this has been, one of the video of Mr. Parliger has shown is a compactor. It's the same machine. Basically, the purpose is whatever the plastic waste you are generating other than the PET bottle, whether it is a wafers, whether it is plastic bags, whether it is thermocol, LDP or SDP packaging, anything, you can compress to the maximum. And by doing the compression at the source of generations, again what you're doing is two things. First thing, it is getting segregated while doing this process. The second thing, you are reducing the volume and creating a viability in the system again. I mentioned one place that around 65 to 70% of the municipal budget only goes in transportations. Now, it's a very simple thing. I was working with one of the municipal, and he says that for transporting 5 tons of the plastic waste for one plastic to fuel plant, he is using 13 trucks. Now, by using these machines, he can use hardly 5 trucks. Just imagine the impact he is creating onto the environment in terms of reduction the fuel consumption, in terms of reductions of the CO2 emissions, and thus making available to the recyclers. Next. This is again a decentralized system of biogas plant. It is a small container which can be placed. I'll just pass into that. Next. Just push. This cycle we have already talked about it, and I like to just mention here one point, that in European countries close to 70,000 machines has been, this kind of machines has been deployed across in European countries. So there is a well established thought about decentralized waste management system, segregation at source. And the reason of the success is 2 vital things. See, any success of any program, whether it is a Swachhata Abhiyan of current government also, is public participations, how the public participate. Using these machines, actually the 70,000 machines is a very catering where the public is actually using these machines, not any other machineries or a waste management company. The publics are coming and depositing their bottles or say other waste management into these machines. That is what makes this entire machine successful into that. Next. I'll just quickly go to the summary part. That's how this machines is impacting today if it is used completely. This machine can flake around 8,64,000 bottles in a year, which is, and reduction of volume obviously by 85%. This is basically a flaking machines which reduce the PET bottle volume by 85% at source. This 8,64,000 bottles is equivalent to 17.2 tons of the bottles which is getting recycled. Roughly, we have calculated certain impact on the environment which this machine can create if it is fully utilized. 1,000 liters of the crude oil you can save by reducing the volume at source. 10 times of the reduction in transportations, obviously cost attached to it. Then the CO2 emissions. 13 cubic yard of the landfill can be saved if it is not going to the landfill. And 43.22 metric tons of the CO2 emissions can be reduced by using this machine if it is running in a full capacity in any locations. Then Rajesh has already explained about what kind of products we can make out of this thing, and it's a complete circular process involved into this machine. Go to the next. Now, the another machines which we make is a small compactor which can be placed again in the public places. Again, the entire purpose is reduce this volume of this waste at the source of generations and send it to the recycler units. And that is how we feel that this decentralized waste management system should solve looking at MSW 2016, which is stressing very clearly that, composting the organic waste at source and segregations of other waste at the source of generations, we feel that this kind of technology mixed with your obviously in terms of people's approach or in installing these machines by the municipals or this should definitely help in terms of what is the waste management what we are trying to achieve into that perspective. This is just a brief summary to that. Just go back. There is one small video I like to show. This one, our first one. This is one of the machine is running into one of the housing society today, and just how the peoples are participating, especially the children. I want you to have a look into that. Thank you. That's all from my side.
I will request now Mr. Sameer Joshi, right, who basically represents the Environment and Plastic Image Committee of the Plast India Foundation. It is the apex body of the plastics in India. He has PhD on a plastic waste management, and he has traveled around 2,000 kilometers within India. 200,000 kilometers, right? Within India in last 2 years on a plastic waste management. He is an engineer by profession and is based in Pune, and he has worked on awareness programs of implementation of plastic waste products. So me and Sameer, we keep on working together on most of the issues, and we keep on meeting together and finding the waste solution for the plastic waste management in India. Welcome, Sameer.
Rotary is a movement of the centuries, and 14 Rotary clubs of Mumbai, along with the Rotary Club of Green City, is making a difference by organizing this seminar. I am going to talk very fast today, and I'm going to talk on general things. Plastics, it is not wasted, it is a wasted potential. Next, please. I represent Plast India Foundation, which is the apex body of all plastic associations in India. I'm not here to promote at all the use of plastics, but I'm here to promote the correct use of plastic and its waste management. Next, please. Earlier, long ago, this was Mumbai. Next, please. Now, this is Mumbai. Next, please. Leading to this. Next, please. Before, this was the situation. Now it is this. I don't know what is the real waste here, inside or outside. Next, please. Leading to this. Before it was this. Next, please. Now it is this. Leading to this. Before it was this. Now it is this. Leading to this. And this is what we call green evolution, burning our waste. Next. You see a no garbage zone, and everything that is garbage is dumped here. Next. And this is what we define as the green evolution. Next. Plastics have a negative perception. Plastics and people, they love to hate each other, but we don't do that. Lawmakers and bans, eyesore in garbage dumps, all these things leads to mismanagement and ill thoughts. Next, please. Plastics, hate them, but they are here to stay. And as the world around us changes, our lives will be affected. And the combination of technologies and plastics will change the way we live, work, and relax together. Nothing is garbage if we segregate. I will not dwell more on this. Next. This t-shirt, the Indian cricket team, the jersey and the vest is made of 33 plastic recycled bottles. When we are in the era of smart cities and smart technologies, we will need smart people and smart materials, which include plastics, which will make a change. Next. This is the solid waste management cycle. Some of the slides are repeated, so I will not dwell more on that. Next. This is again what has been covered. Least preferred and most preferred is source reduction and reuse. Next. It's all a teamwork. All of us have to work together. But the first step begins with me. I should not litter. I should segregate. It is very easy to blame the municipal authorities, but what I do is important. I should take care of my waste, keep my area clean. A small thought, even if everyone just keeps 30 feet of his or own area, our city will be a much better place to live in. Next, please. This is also covered by my colleague. I will not talk on this. Next, please. Many technologies are available. Waste to fuel, then plastic waste to roads, plastic lumber. Next, plastic collection and sorting to be made proper. That is the need of the hour. Next. Then the rules and directives are well organized in countries. Now in India, we have them in 2016. Next. Plastic is recycling is part of life. European Union plans zero waste to landfills. NGOs and pushing governments towards this. Next, please. And as a plastic man, I have to accept the rule of the land, the ban of thin plastics. Even I say no. Next. Key elements in waste management success for plastic waste management is infrastructure, segregated waste, awareness, involvement at all levels, and innovative collection and recycling technologies based most importantly on local conditions. Simple change in attitude is needed by us. Next. Recognition, participation in the informal sector is very important. Provision of funds, logistical support, most important again, people's participation. Next. Talking about it, not just talking, but sharing information and responsibility and acting. Next. This is how it all began. One person threw it and then everybody started throwing it. Next, please. These are few of our startups in the new era where Banyan Nation is a company floated in Hyderabad in 2013 that recycles 1,200 tons of plastics annually and sends it back to the manufacturing sector for reuse. This 2018, they received the award for the circular economy at the World Economic Forum. Next. Online sites, people collecting scrap, just go through their website and they will pay the market price. Next. These are a bunch of schoolgirls who have developed a mobile app to connect the recyclers. Next. The recycling dream machine which Ajay spoke about. Next. You know, the Japanese mindset, we can learn a lot from the school children there. The school children there are supposed to clean their own toilets. How about giving, we need to think a little out of the box. How about giving poor people uniforms and tools and cash incentives to clean our cities instead of begging? That is not a bad idea if one has the guts to think out of the box. With existing resources, we might still see a clean India, but it will be a lot of effort which has to be put in. Next. Global estimate of waste workers in this community of informal sector are 15 million. And 1 or 2% of the world population is in the recycling industry, which is working for collection of the waste. Next. Recycling is the key. Next. The new mantra is upscaling, making products out of discarded plastics. Next. This is made from glasses used in a canteen. A chandelier for Diwali. Next. Coca-Cola made these designer chairs from PET bottles. Next. What we all work for is sustainable development. And what do we mean by that? Is it meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet our own needs. We have to live with our limits and equitable distribution of resources and opportunities. Next, please. Success is infrastructure. Again, I'm repeating it. Communication, involvement at all levels. Innovative collection and recycling techniques. Next. The biggest example that we can learn is from their discipline, from their sincerity, from the Indian Army, our armed forces. We can learn a lot from them in making a Swachh and Smart Bharat. Next, the 6 R's of green living. The most important thing down is rethinking the whole thought. Next. This is about it. I once had a sparrow and it flew away. I had a pet squirrel and it ran away. I planted a tree and both came back. Let us grow more trees, not cut forest. Use plastics judiciously and dispose them properly so that nature is not disturbed. And our holy rivers continue to be clean. Let us begin the cleanliness from our home and our own workplace. Next. Again, this was covered. I will not cover this. Changing economy from the linear to the circular economy. Next. Again, this was covered. I will not do it. Then plastic recycling options. Next. Waste statistics, again, which was told 60,000 metric tons of solid waste in 300 class 1 cities. Out of that, only 4% is plastic, but it is a major to see because it is voluminous by as such. Next. Recycling is the primary mode of achieving sustainability. There are 3,000 organized and 4,000 unorganized plastic recycling units, providing employment for around 1.6 million people. Next. Emirates has launched a blanket made out of recycled plastic bottles. I'll talk about this a little later. Innovations in waste collection. The annual Pandharpur Yatra is a pilgrimage of on foot, which goes from Pune to Anandhi. At least 500,000 people travel together. Last year, we did an experiment. This mobile waste to fuel plant was put on a truck, and wherever the palki stopped, we collected the plastic waste and made oil out of it. And the same oil was given to those people to cook in the evening. Next, please. Innovations in plastics. There are bio-based plastics and new things which are coming. The water bottle that you can drink. It's a bubble. Next, please. Who is this? A man from your city. He is Afro Sheikh. Afro Shah. Millions of tons of plastics he has collected. Next. This is new. The machine collecting the waste, but it is costly. It has to take its foot here. Next. Now, when we talk about things, we have to design properly and then put technology properly. Then this is the real thing for managing the waste. Right from the design, make it such that it does not begin with the collection but design. Careless design leads to leftover residue in the emptied packages. Next. This is from the place I come from, Pune. We have an organization, Swachh. They are collecting waste from the city. Next. We are all a part of this galaxy. Everything comes here, goes back, but the waste does not. Next. We have to change our mindset. We have to live amazingly with a lot of less. Next. We cannot go plastic free. have to promote the responsible use of plastics and go plastic conscious. This is living amazingly with a lot of less. Why use big cars when there are no big roads? The plastic industry is working with Parley to prevent plastic entering our oceans and transform it into high performance sportswear. The soles are made from mushroom leather and the upper part is made from plastics. This is a new development. This is an intelligent use of disposable plastic bottles, creating new designs. These bricks made out of recycled plastics are not glued together, but are clicked together like Lego. Next. It's everyone's responsibility that plastic does not end in the nature. Upscaling, this is the latest news yesterday from Pune, run by two sisters transforming waste into wonder. Live examples. Next. See the amazing transformation of Aluva railway station in Kerala. Whatever bottles were thrown, the same bottles are used to decorate there on the railway tracks. Protoprint, this is again one startup in Pune where a boy has tied up with the waste pickers to collect the plastic waste and then he converts it into a film which is used for 3D printing. Next. Design is more important. Rethinking is more important. Make everyone a part of the system. That is more important. Everyone is a part of this, be it rich, be it poor. Everyone faces the problem of garbage. Next. Again, a news of yesterday, plastic wonder. Now, using roads for plastics, plastic roads last 3 times longer than the normal roads. Plastic roads can be made using discarded plastic garbage. Pune Corporation to do that. This is another initiative by the plastic people. Accountability, transferability, the whole chain. We will be collecting, we will be segregating our own waste and taking it back. Next. The new plastic economy, creating an effective after use of plastics. Next. तारक मेहता का उल्टा चश्मा, ये रिसाइकलिंग का सीधा चश्मा है. This is the t-shirt which we made out of 100% recycled waste. This we created as a part of the Guinness World Record. This t-shirt was made from 200,000 PET bottles and displayed at Goregaon on the 5th of Jan. The t-shirt measuring 96.86 meters long and 69.77 meters wide created this record, and post that we are cutting this into 10,000 small t-shirts and distributing it to underprivileged children. If 6 1-liter PET bottles can be used correctly, it can clothe a child. Remember, when you throw a bottle, someone else's waste can be someone else's cloth. 12 1-liter bottles can make a t-shirt for an adult. Next. This man, who always propagated swachhata, godliness, it is our part to do our small bit to his century of birth in 2019. Next. There is nothing permanent except change. Rotary is a movement of the centuries, and Rotary will again do what they want to do. The change begins with us. And if I am not wrong, there is an environment fellowship of Rotarians. You have to take this again. Dil mein sach, dimag mein swachhata. Jai Hind.